So the gearbox all pulled to bits and it is looking good, it's looking perfect. Just as a comparison, somebody asked me on the comments, is there a difference in the lay shaft lengths? No, these are perfectly the same length. And not only that, there's a little test step for us. There's the shafts, the primary motion shafts, they're the same length, and also I've got a squared piece of tube across the bell housings, and they are the same except for the place where the gearbox stud goes, the starter goes. Let me pick up the camera and show you. So this one's a 4-cylinder. You can tell straight away that the stud hole's at the top as compared to this one, where there's 2 stud holes either side of where the shifter goes on. And you can probably see in comparison that the starter is slightly different. It's a different, slightly different place. So yeah, it's not going to fit. So now clean up the parts, swap out the bearings and things like this. Now getting the bearing out of the lay shaft that goes at the lay shaft, the one that goes at the bottom here, it's going to be a right pain. I'm not sure if that bearing will go together on that roller. I don't like doing it, but I've got to have to see about that. So let me have a look at the gearbox casing that we're going to use. Many years ago I had a clear out and I got rid of all my old series bits and pieces and I gave them to Michelle. So it was kind of ironic when we were doing this gearbox, we've got them all back again. So what we're going to do, I've put the bearing in here, I've cleaned it, every bearing on this is good, all the parts are good. So we're going to fit this back on, the retainer, and I'll show you something. I'll just put this on now. Now this only, I think this only goes on one way. Yeah. Then we get a new tab washer. We'll tighten these bolts up later because I want to show you something. So I'll just put these on for now. Because I don't even know what the torques are for these. I'll have to have a look in the book. Like I say, all the bearings are nice. Right, what was I going to show you? The shaft on this one is perfect. All the gears and everything are perfect. I have no problems with that at all. But it seems to be that the oil is extremely thick on these old series trucks. Now, I don't know if you can see here. We're going to hold it closely. Those are the lubrication holes. Oh, you can see that one quite clearly. Can you see this one? Yeah, there you go. Lubrication holes. One at 180 degrees of each other. That is all there is to oil this bronze bushing in here, this phosphor bronze bushing. That's it. So it begs to differ. When this is at the top of the gearbox and your lay shaft's at the bottom, how on earth does that get lubricated when this is spinning around? Because centrifugal force is going to spin all the oil out. When I had my snowplow Land Rover, I used engine oil. I just used engine oil in the gearbox. Worked fine. You know, no stiff changes in winter because this oil in here was really, really thick. So I don't know what it was, but I'm just tempted to put something like a heavy engine oil in rather than gear oil, because our climate is kind of cold. And I think that was a problem. I've seen a lot of those bushes seize up because of that. So the next thing, let's give that a little nip up. I've got a bit confused now because I've got parts everywhere. Oh, here we are. Yeah. So we won't tighten this up until it's on the box, but we'll pull it down, if you see what I mean. Alright. We won't forget that. The next thing, the input shaft. Although the input shaft is the same length, that is the old one. I think that's the old one. Or is that the old one? Wait a minute. No, this is the new one. This is the new one. I just washed it out. That's better with a bit of oil on. And you make sure that if you do put a new bearing on here, make sure that the flinger is on here, because that stops the oil getting into the bearing. It flings it all over the place. Well, it reduces it. You don't want that much oil in there, but it flings it around the gearbox. Make sure all the insides are good, teeth are good, which this one is. I'll get rid of this one because no doubt I'll try and fit that one in place. I mean, this is the old one. It doesn't feel too bad actually. It doesn't feel too bad at all. But they seem to be all the same, Series 3, Series 2As, and that's alright, so we won't get confused with that. So the next thing, we'll fit that bearing. Now just give this a little push out. No, you shouldn't tap the ends of the threads, but they're actually already out. So now we need to get a block of wood to put that on, just to tap the main shaft through. Primary motion shaft. An old trick they used to do for getting the bottom lay shaft bearing out of here. See this one, not that one, but this little one. They used to drill two holes in, and they've put two grub screws in there. On the other casing, where is it now? Oh, this one here. This is the bearing that we're going to use. There was nothing, so we're going to replicate those two holes and punch the bearing out. Because we're not going to use that casing, so it doesn't really matter. And somebody, if they want to do that, can do it later. And yeah, so they've put they put a couple of grub screws in there, which is nice. We'll take those out. And then we should be able to put those back in again. So we can use that with a bearing. Get a little punch. See, how easy was that? Next we're going to take the bearing out. If you can remember, this bearing just slid out, the shaft just slid out of here. I think because it'd been moving about so much, but we're going to take that circlip off and then just warm the housing up just a little bit and it should come off. Oh, so they've put the bloody circlip in a really awkward place. Just have to tap it round a bit. There we go. Watch out for clips coming off. Good job we got a spare one. Right. that out. We don't need that. Right, next, take the bearing out of the other one. Let's do that. Find the position of the hole. We're simply going to use a piece of cardboard, and then using the ball of our hammer which is very, very close to there. That might not work, so we'll get a punch. There's it. Paper, 2 stops, pick up off the holes, and then take that off. Get rid of that. No, we want that one. This is where it gets confused, you don't know what the hell you're keeping. A couple of bolts, doesn't matter which ones. Right, what have they done here? Oh, they've put some helicoids in there. That's interesting. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Let's get a centre punch and punch those holes. Yeah, they've put different bolts in there. I wonder why that is. Like they haven't even made an effort to put the right size bolts in. Oh, never mind, we'll just hold them in place. Now we'll look for a drill and we'll drill those holes. So with a couple of holes drilled, we should be able to get a little punch that bearing out. We should be able to. Not that one. What's happened there? These are those cheap Indian punches. Oh, I need to drill that a little bit bigger. I think this one's in the right size. I actually drilled them smaller. You see, look at the size of it before. I'll drill it a bit bigger, and then I should be able to. Oh, it's coming out. I think the problem is my punches are on a point rather than square. Let's try and turn them backwards. There we go. So that is redundant. So now we're going to clean this bearing up and tap it into the casing of here. That's easy enough. So with the bottom bearing in, now we can fit our reverse idler, remembering which way it goes. We're just going to tap that into place. There we go. Flush with the end. That's good. In fact, it can go in a bit more. So we'll get our punch. We'll just set it in a bit more. think that's it. It's happy there. Right, what's next? Well, I think we can start to assemble this gear. Yeah, I think we can. What I'm going to do is just give it a quick wash in the parts washer, and then we're going to warm up the casing and then put that that bearing housing through. It should go okay. Well, famous last words, eh? This bearing housing's got a location pin in. Be careful when you put this back together. Don't just hammer it in. Yeah, well, the bearings are nice, the gears are lovely, absolutely perfect. Yeah, that'll be fine. I'm going to replace the seal later. So, I'll warm up this housing and then we'll push this through. Well, let's do it now. I can always edit it out if it doesn't work. Here goes, there goes nothing. It's a bit tricky because you can't see the... Where's the pin? There! Ta-da! No tears, eh? Now, we did lose one spring clip. I've got another one somewhere kicking about. Ah, here it is. So that's easier than hammering on bearings and shafts. Just warm it up a bit. Now, we'll put this through here. These are lock-in circlip pliers. They're really good, but the pins are getting a little bit worn. There we go, that is wonderful. Now, next thing, don't worry about that noise, it's dry but it's boiling. Let's see if we can get some oil on that bearing. Dry. Now, don't worry about that too much. Next, get the lay shaft cleaned up and put the lay shaft in.